Okay, no, I don't want to use the computer audio. I want to use my microphone. Okay, I think it's using the microphone. So the one thing I do not like about this webcam is the focus. As you can see, it's not super duper sharp. So I apologize for that. I'm gonna see what I can do to improve that as I do a little bit of research. But so what I basically did is I used this awesome ruler that's for quilting, and I made a mark on my 9x12 paper every inch. Now your grid might be larger than an inch. You're going to need to do a little bit of math for this. What's important is that you have the same number of grid squares as your original picture that I sent you. I sent you black and white and I sent you color so that you have options. So I basically have marks that I've already made right here all the way across for an inch. What I don't want to do is use my ruler here and hope that they're plumb straight up and down. I want to use something that's got a nice solid bottom on it, like this quilting ruler or a triangle once your marks are made. Okay, and make sure that your one edge is perfectly aligned with your paper. Also make sure your paper is square. If you've cut it down from a larger size, make sure it's square. You actually are probably better off not cutting it down and just making your 9x12 drawing area inside of whatever paper you have. That way, you can always trim it down, but it's kind of nice to have extra space. This just got a little funky because I ran into my head, my little guy, who I had on the paper so that it would make nice focus, which is obviously not working very well. So you can see I made a little mistake up here. And I actually should really, by rights, be drawing on the right-hand side since I'm right-handed, but I didn't have a lot to align at the bottom, which is why I was doing it the way I was. Now that I've got a good chunk of the square making contact with the edge of the paper, I'm gonna flip my square so that I've got a right-handed direction for what I'm doing. Okay, so you can see those are nice and square. This one's a little bit suspect, and so I might go back and fix that one. One of the things that I showed in the other video, and it didn't come out very well, was trying to erase like this mistake right here. If I want to erase that but keep my good line that I like intact, I use a piece of paper as an eraser shield. Believe it or not, for engineers and architects, they actually sell something called an eraser shield, which is a skinny piece of plastic that you can see through. That allows you to use it as a clean edge to erase. But paper works just dandy for that. So then I'd go all the way across, making my verticals, and then I've made marks for my horizontals, and I do the same thing for my horizontals. It's really, really important when you're making this grid to make sure that things are nice and square. If you suspect that a line is not square, check it. With something that is square, like a triangle or a T-square, or this large, right, this large crafting ruler, or even something that you know for sure is square, like a piece of copy paper, and check to make sure things are square. Because if your grid's not square, it's not going to help you, right? Because things won't be aligned properly. The other grid that's on your drawing was made in Illustrator, and we know it's perfectly square. Now you'll notice the marks I'm making on here are pretty dark, and that's because you guys need to see what I'm doing. But if you're going to draw on the surface that you're going to, if you're going to put your grid on the same surface that you're going to sketch on, I would suggest making much lighter marks because you're going to want to get rid of that grid later. The other option would be to do it on a separate piece of paper, and once your grid is correct, using a straight edge and going in and making the marks nice and dark so you can see through onto another piece of paper. Right, this one I can't see through because there's printing on the back of it. Oops. But you can see, or at least I can, you can't on the video, I can see the grid through there. I prefer not to have my grid on my drawing paper because when you erase it, it's hard to get rid of the whole thing. But anyway, hopefully that helps. So you make your whole nice grid. Again, it's not unusual to have to start it over again because it went crazy somehow. So don't be, you know, discouraged if you have to start over again. It's only paper, it's fine. Just start over if it gets really crooked, okay?